or in the Randy and the new and improved Amelia and Randy. I was going to say, and Amelia is far back. You will have to Tara, Randy, and Tony. So we're going to be. Thank you again for being here. If you're just joining us, this of course is Designing Genius Hour, and really, Designing Genius improved Amelia and Randy show, where we're talking a lot of current events and things that are happening. And again, we're going to be diving into Randall Jones of Jones.show. That's right. I got it all right.
Thank you for you to say, it's like John Wayne Gacy. It's like all these. And people say this to me all the time. So people use all three names. You stumble so much.
Kenneth Jones. I got you.
Okay.
So anyway, we're gonna be diving in, having some interesting with Randy today, and we invite you, of course, if you're listening, to share this room. Hit the little box at the bottom of the screen. Let's conversation, and of course, pinging people in. And if you're watching Facebook or LinkedIn, by all means, share the video. These are the interesting conversations that can help move the needle, get you unstuck, and help you grow through what you go through, so you can next level of your life. So with that said, Tara, we don't have her on video at the moment. We're trying to work some wreaking havoc on our technology, but so we do. So with that said, just good morning, everyone. Randy and Tara, and let's get this conversation started.
Hey, hello. You're cutting out a little bit, Tony. So we'll see how everything goes. Miss Tara, are you?
I'm here. I saw also the person thing. I'm telling you guys it's a moon thing. Like it's all everybody's out.
It's a moon thing. Hashtag moon thing. So we are thrilled to have. We are okay. Let's start with obsessions. I have two new obsessions in the last 2 hours. I'm obsessed with Rolanda Watts. She was on the 9 o'clock hour. So I have to just shoot that out there. I'm obsessed, and we talk a lot about kindness and all that stuff, and I love the fact shows a lot, was that it is the 1st anniversary of the publication of Etiquette. Emily Postal, Lizzie Post, her great-great-granddaughter, is doing. They are issuing, the families kept that poll. They dated it. Now the 20th edition is coming. Tony, I was in bed. That conflict thing, some of the commentary I heard, guided me in a way that was going to help me some. So I really applied.
Conflict is the sign of life, by the way. There's no conflict. There's conflict forces you to stretch and to grow and to get outside of your old adage that says comfort zone is nothing freaking grows there, right? So you've got to be out.
The conflict we have when it's 1 minute to 11 and we still don't have it growing me out of my comfort zone.
Well, it's forcing we can tweak things a little bit better and have it work. Everything is either, listen, we're always growing, and if we're not, and through learning is growth, so we're always constantly growing. But to touch back on the conversation from it's an essential part of life, and if you're not experiencing conflict, growing, hey, look at there he is. That's a good.
Parents, for those of you not watching us on Twitter or Facebook, as made an appearance.
That's it.
He is my neck.
He's saying, if there's conflict, I'm here to help. I'm here. The reality is there is no growth without conflict. And if you understand is, and something that's been lost in society is the ability to conflict, the ability to have adult conversations and say this. Everybody's afraid to say the difficult things for fear of offending someone, of saying or doing something that's going to offend someone. In the previous hour, that if everybody loves you, you're not really being true to yourself. Randy, inevitably, there's people you're
not true. No, that's a rumor that.
Listen, listen. If you don't have any haters, you're not trying hard enough. But the reality of it is, and I heard, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on his name right. Trent Shelton, and he said,
going, "Oh, Randy, I hate you. I hate you."
No, but listen, this was brilliant. I heard this from him 3 years ago, and he said, "Listen, it's only got confused supporters. In other words, if you've got haters still following your content and commenting, they're just confused supporters because watching what you're doing, hanging on your every word, maybe do supporters. But the point I'm trying to make is, then you're not really pleasing you. If you're pleasing everybody, because if you're pleasing the left, and you're say left and right because it's not about politics, but let's say you're pleasing if you're pleasing both of them and they're both opposing, then at some, you're pleasing one, but if you're also pleasing the other, so what's possible? Here's the thing: it's impossible to make everybody happy. It's important to make you happy because that's how you're living and your authentic self.
It is most important. Am I right? Isn't it important?
Everybody's got to make Tara.
You guys are so cute. You know what I'm a little obsessed over this week? I'm obsessed with. So like I love Sally. Anybody who's Sally down there, she's 3 rows down. She's next soul, amazing. So like just so coach walking down the street at the people and it's genuine. Speaker I was invited to come speak on David's Zoom yesterday. People that are genuine, authentic, know who in deeply rooted in service. That's my obsession.
That's a good obsession. I'm also obsessed with Sally because I don't.
Listen, if anybody that Sally's just Sally's Sally.
Okay, so our dump
topic.
As it relates to, I think has really fed my life. And Amilya said, what do you want to talk about? To me, what's really interesting that's fed me in so many different ways, not only becoming the best you, but you can be. And that can be achieved. Hard. That is not, I believe, effort to be that, and I will. Tara asked me to give it. I had a marketing firm in DC years ago because I really did 47 at the time. I didn't like who I was becoming, dated, and I missed idealistic young Randy, creative. I mean, I still always have made my living as a creative, tired. I didn't like that. So we moved to Naples, Florida, thinking this stuff was intellect. And I went to the Naples Daily News. To them is, and I shared this because I'm hoping I can give you all. I said there's all these intelligent, wildly successful people. I'm talking to them and said, no, do you want to write a column? And I said, yes, I do. I want money. That led to 125 Barbara Corcoran. I mean, the people that were saying yes, one of the Jungle Jack Hanna. Ask him what the animal kingdom does better than the human being, on and on and on and on. And I met my first book, which was nonfiction, which was this became for me, Tara. We were talking about. I was really leaning into these trying to help my reader, trying to help other people, but I I have been in there and I so hard and taking all of these words of wisdom, but the other thing is I try to take action. What worries me the most about anyone help, whether you're listening to all these podcasts, whether you're on Clubhouse, you don't take the action. I'm at the end of the last show. The first person to say interesting to me was Killer Reese. I mean, that's a really great source for that. But and that has become wildly impacted the way I live my life. So it's for me to be the best me, seriously. I mean, with my podcast, my new fiction book coming out, I'm over 300 interviews now, going out and trying to meet and talk to and glean things I can from everyone.
Oh, that's so good. Beyonce, I read.
The new one.
Yeah, I've read the new Ruby. That's where I'm going with it. Because I actually read it the first time you sent it to me. Then I read it, pulling out little things out of it. So I know that this book, being your best you, and I know you've had a long book by all of us. And so my question to you, which I've never asked, is what inspired that book? Because this is a book that every single person should have on their bookshelf. I'm a huge avid reader, but it's such a great book because when you read it over and over and over again, you pull out more. Like I found that I was like, I looked at it, and then when I read it the second time, I was like, wow, that's amazing, Randy.
I mean, there's two answers that Mark Victor Hansen, who's been on the show, has this book, Ask. We did my show, and then asked me. I mean, and then he asked the question, are you interested in fiction? I had something I started 4 years ago, but I just haven't finished it within a week. It was happening. It meant to publish this book. What's so fun, and I had said to myself two things. I said I should wrong voice. I mean, I still may have the wrong voice. I mean, I have a podcast, and I've said I'm a nonfiction. Literally, the two things I've said I most right now are the two actions I'm most involved in. Love where inspiration comes from. The other thing of me being in conversations, and I encourage everyone to hear conversations and take what you can away from it. I was really 7 years ago, I interviewed Cynthia Ring. She played Penny, who was really the professional dancer. She married singer Richard Marr Limelight to be a mom, which I honor that. I honor her. I mean, left the limelight, but let me write about her. She was such a good person that all of a sudden Cynthia jumped from this woman. It's not her story, but the character of Soul, who really is the one who's traveling to and trying to resolve and the meaning of her life and progress, is based on something.
Wow, I should
say inspired. Got to be really careful because it is not her story. There was something about it was magic. I mean, so many magic experiences and so many. The title character is full of the wisdom that Ruby tends to bring to me. It's usually something that I've heard from someone or a thought or something, a conclusion session. So Ruby is kind of the mouth what my belief system has become.
Oh, that's so good, Randy. So this book really covers like this from our belief systems, and spirituality, acceptance, inclusion, empowerment, aging gracefully. And you and I had like an hour, and I would love to have the people from Excellence come up and share this because, with a certain point, like I'm now in my 40s, I think very differently than I did in my 30s, and you are up there just a little bit.
Hey, listen, Tara's the one that said you me, so that just means you've been here a lot longer. Listen, I'm growing the whites.
Oh, I'm look at me. I'm like snow on top, practically. I love aging. I love talking. Is that I was literally doing speeches when I was 14 in junior. I mean, I was a competitive speaker. My topic one year was rights of the elderly, the 70s, and anybody who's in my age range knows. People called it a day. It was not the kind of care there was not that kind of focus. So the fact that I young and my family mother is great. He's 91. I had a great grandmother. I've been around older people. I live in Naples, Florida. Those are my so it's a place that's very comfortable and happy for me. Them and so but I am thing that I've said repeatedly, as you've heard me say, is there's nothing on your ability to create or to control. And I am 3 weeks away from 60. A week later, my first fiction book gets released. Literally talking the talk, the walk. And as you know, it's a book that has a whole lot of, I don't talk about Dr. Sweet, about aches and pains. There's a couple little jokes about memory. I don't live an old, and I don't know many people. I do know people who do. Are those who just live a life. Despite if there are ailments, that's just part of it. You deal with that. But normality, you go back to just living, thinking, being, all of that kind of stuff. So it in here, Stephen Petro, we've had on the show. Oh my God, he's been on the show twice. Stupid things I won't do when I get old, which I think because I still jump up and down and scream and yell. I'll get that book with aging parents as I am, or get that book if you might want to age. Because
that was a great.
If you're gonna, if with any luck, you're gonna age. Something went wrong.
Yeah, and I just gotta say that was a great, absolutely great question. What are the things you will not? It's so great because we all talk about the things that we want. Are you no longer willing to do? Going back to that, if everybody loves you, right? What are the things you're not willing to do anymore for somebody else?
My friend, Suzanne Leonard, who is on Bad Connection. We don't know why. We have bad audio stream. If you come into Clubhouse, Suzanne, and breakfast with, and you should be able to hear us there. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, we have weeks. Yeah, we have weeks. I was going to say we have weeks of perfect audio and video, and then today and last week I know the audio wasn't great either. So we apologize that are listening on YouTube and Facebook and everything. Improves and cleans up. That is not on our end. That's the technology gods, the new moon.
But we're very pretty. We look really.
Oh yeah, we did hair and makeup today and everything.
Open this up to.
Oh no! See how she just cut me off on that way.
Well, that's because she was on here before and so. Yeah, that's not really accurate.
Yeah, that's.
So.
No, I tried out today. You are not yet on camera. so this is woven into belief systems. And so and I want to unpack that because I know a lot of people are stuck because their belief systems don't go the direction in which they're going. And this book is like saying to every chapter there's something about belief systems. So let's
Before we do tear into that, only because our numbers are really low right now. Before we really get into the meat and potatoes, and I know it's not time for a reset, everybody. If you're enjoying this conversation, if you're getting value, by all means, share this room on Clubhouse. Ping people in that you know couldn't, that are not aging gracefully, that are just those curmudgeons, those people that are always trying to please everybody else, those people that don't believe, those people that have lost hope, and they're, man, share this room. And if you're listening to it on social media, by all means, bring some more people into this conversation, because these are the conversations. Then we did lose a bit of traction here, so I want to just on Clubhouse, well, on socials as well, share this video, and let's make sure that we bring more people into this conversation, because this is how we can. This is truly how we can influence the world. One person or two people in to this conversation, that I invite you to invite some other people in. With that said, at the top of the page, we have Randall Kenneth pinged. You can also go to .show. You can also go to ruby.info. Randy's work everywhere. So with that back,
everywhere.
Sarah. Yeah, I really want to unpack the belief system. This is like a huge core part of and I know how many people are stuck and really tire our belief systems. If we can really question our life can like magically change.
What's so crazy? Okay, as you know, it's a holiday. Mark meets the Golden Girls. Seriously, as you know, it's Aaron Brockovich said it was Harry Potter meets the Golden Girls. So it's a sweet book, but it's just built into that. The holidays are nothing to them. I mean, and the problem is like, so have to be really careful. But the holiday action, what you believe in, your religious preferences, I believe this book is very, very respectful, and it was very important to me. I didn't necessarily want Anarchy to own Christmas, the discussion, so I wanted it across the board. My book was about respect, but and what you believe in, and what you to what's the word I'm really justify. How do you justify that belief? And now the book is not political, but it applies in politics. But I will give you an example. I'm giving one person say to me, who lives in Savannah, Georgia. She said, "You cannot do a book about Savannah, Georgia without." And to me, I love that stuff. I think it's so. And I had not planned a quote unquote ghost story. But even that is a belief system. Here, some people think there is no such thing. Some people literally, I say, live and die by it. Do believe. Some people lean on an afterlife, a world as part of their reason. You know, I didn't expect it. Here's what's crazy. I really set out to write the sweet little Hallmark book. All of these elements of spirituality and what we believe in, once again, believe in to a lot of people in many ways. And it just, you were there with me when I was writing. It kept just sort of occurring, almost magically. automatically happens. We'll be able to repeat that experience. It was actually
Being belief you've got there, Randy.
So, I mean, I belief systems to me are very much, and I think I live this. I really different beliefs, and even if I don't agree, really hard at trying to understand. I really, really, really do. I mean, I ask the questions and I listen, because if you keep saying, somebody says I believe in X, and you get a lame answer, then you say why. They'll let you get away with it 3 or 4 times. You actually get to the root of that belief system, and you go, oh, I get that now. Something that's important to you. But simply asking over and over again, I've done it in interviews. It can annoy people.
Well, the fascinating thing.
Right, Tony?
Yeah, sorry, Tara. There's a bit of an audio lag. I didn't hear my question.
No, I was saying, isn't that what he's referring to? Is actually not.
It is, and the reality of it is, as you ask someone, because the person that's answering the question itself solves the question, and sometimes you get a belief that they hadn't even tapped into yet because they don't understand.
Yeah, you're right. They don't know. They haven't figured out for them. They don't know. Yeah,
that's sort of questions with a mentor or a strategist or a coach, and people think that they're going to come to me to get an answer, and I'm going to help you find your answer, because my answer isn't necessary, because my belief systems may not be the same as yours. And at times people will violate their values in line with their belief system, because their belief of who they and who they want to be and how they are strong, that they will violate their values, and they'll do things that are off to stay in line with what they believe in. But over and over again, we'll force them to die, because that's an open-ended question. You can't ask a person with a yes or no. No, they've got to dig and give you an answer. Sometimes you actually help people get to the bottom of their own belief just by so. Stay curious.
Well, and I've also found belief they understand it may not really actually be as related to the topic, and they're much more able to understand view.
Well,
I've had it happen.
100%. Their belief may be skewed, or may not be serving them. When you ask them their belief, they go back, and that's why I believe that. And when you can get down to the root, then you can maybe then you can change into our belief systems aren't always right, and they serve a point in our lives, but then we have to evolve. And some people just don't. It was that they needed to believe in, or whatever, whoever they needed to be at the time of stress, at the time of danger. Sorry, I don't want to go too deep into that. Back to you, Randy.
I have nothing else to say. I'm done. I'm completely done. I'm out.
All right, thank you. Randy is never freaking. Let's just be clear. Neither is Tony or Tara.
I will bring up, because I know Tara's going to bring this up. Humor to me, and your ability to laugh at yourself. I think it saves us. Sometimes I can confuse people, because I've literally, you've got to listen to his podcast. He's so funny. Podcast when they say that, because I'm funny, sensitive, I believe, and thoughtful as well. And both of those, people are like, oh, this Ruby book about Christmas and spiritual. No, we're having a good time. There's some wild, crazy people doing some really. So, I mean, I really do try to find the mixture of the humor and the entertainment with the meaning, because to me, on Clubhouse, whether I'm on a stage, whether I'm in a podcast, it is always, I just interview interviewed Melissa Rivers in 5, the launch of my show, and you can't and not be funny, but her mother's passed away to discuss. So you can't discuss that and the goodness of Joan Rivers very serious, and that is one thing that I'm proud of.
Listen, 100%. You know, I like to say that life is too serious. None of us are getting out of this alive, right? And the reality of it is, and when you can finally laugh at yourself, again, laugh at yourself in a good way, but when you can laugh at yourself and the interesting time, if you can't laugh at yourself, call me and I'll laugh at you.
Okay, now you're going to get. That's actually not true. I'm going to.
Well, this is true, but you're not going to get out of this form. You're not.
When I think I'm done, I'm going to be back. Tara, I want to, so. Tara, what do you want to know?
Well, I have so much to say because I actually want you to explain to everybody what happened in this book, because we talked a lot about action. And we were talking about fear in Clubhouse on Breakfast with Champions. Super important, especially because you just said, you're coming out, you're just writing your first nonfiction book. For the people below, I think it's really, really important to touch on you through this process of fear, or not thinking of limiting beliefs and just not getting it done because you decide.
I talked about it a little bit, but I'll frame it in a way to 60 is a big number. When I turned that much about it, because I had a great grandmother who lived to be 100, so I might have 50 years to go. At 60, I ain't living to be one. No, I know that so it's a big number, and but then all of a sudden when I realized the best year professionally of my life, advocate for aging, and me being an advocate for creativity, for kindness and consideration systems and humor. I'm having the best year of my life, and like I said before, so the fact that I'm actually turning 60 means the world to me. Janet Ivanovich, who is a blessing, a successful fiction author who influenced me so funny more than anything. I think I met her, lives by me, and I met her like 10 years ago. She, I was like really worried about then, and she's famous for the Stephanie Plum series. I said, Randy, my first Stephanie Plum, I was like 50, 51, 52. And she was dismissing any not going to be able to achieve what I want to achieve. And I realized, man, didn't give up. I up. G.W. Bailey, another gentleman I've met, Police Academy. He's from Police Academy. That's was on Major Crimes as the curmudgeon involved in the Sunshine Kids charity. I was saying to him, I'm like 55. I was like, GW, this is important. This is my last. Like I was the biggest fool on the planet. And Randy, I got my biggest show booked. That show went on for like 15 years when he was like 60. And if any part of me, not just aging, but can inspire anyone to just keep going, just keep working, do it for your thing. It's all this work to get back to the original. For me, it's all about that goal. Hear me out. But then when you ask me what happened, Tara, I understand the magic that took place over the time. I don't know what it was. We're connecting, and plot lines were effortlessly, and new ideas that weren't part of the original outline line. And I guess I don't know, the whole spiritual energy, call it what you magic. I've never had such an effortless time having all these things just flow into the
yeah, I think that's alignment, sweetheart. I think that's alignment. When we talk about spirituality and all that stuff, it's really a journey of self-discovery, and I think that's what happened during the whole time of you writing this book, and it's that connected self and to others. So when you talk about, we said today we're going to start you being the best version of yourself, and so that includes all the creativity and all that stuff. And I think that's why we were in flow state. It had meaning, it had purpose, and it was rooted kind of in higher self, kind of showing the pen. So I think that's beautiful, Randy.
Yeah, but it happened so magically and so wonderfully, and it's a easy read. But the other thing I compared to is anybody's ever read the original book, which was much simpler than the film. Build it out to make that film. It was such a simple, clean story, character study that was energetic. And I always said, if I write a fiction book, I want to write I felt like I wrote a nice, clean, engaging book. But also, and Tara, because there's belief systems, I actually a lot of decisions about what happens.
If I can just jump in here and just say something, something I've heard from my mentor time and time again is that to you, right? Life happening for you, those growth, all of the difficulties that happen in life, and force you to grow into who it is you are destined to be. When those synchronicities happen to you, when those and how things are just jumping onto the page, they're not just a journey that you've been on, and that's life happening for you. That's back for the good that you put out. That's life rewarding you for the lessons you learned along the way, to give you the ability, the knowledge to write those books, to write those stories, to have those moments of epiphanies. They don't happen overnight, right? There's no overnight because of the life that you've had to live. That's why there's a saying that says yourself, if you hate any part of what it took to create you. Those things created who you are and allowed you to write that. By the way, will allow you to write that third and fourth and fifth and choose to write, right? And I'm speaking to you, Randy, and everybody out there.
No, finished this 5 years ago, it would have, but it wouldn't have had the depth as it does. But I open it up for any questions, comments. I really want to get this out there. But I'm gonna be an advocate for this. Please, she said something to me, which was so haunting. Writing is like being with yourself in this way, because you're alone. There's people, they run around your head and they're talking to you, and it is true. And if you take the time to journal, even I'm going to go a step further than a lot of people say. Someone's going to read it. It makes sense, and you work harder to find the meaning that you're presenting. And I started writing like this. The first book never got published, and the second book, and not even began to be more of an advocate for the power time to write down and construct and shape your words into meaning by a long shot. You learn the most. So.
I'm actually in the process, by the way. I don't know if I told you this. I'm in the process of writing more to come on that.
Well, I'm writing a book about you too. So I'll open it up and see if anybody.
Yeah, I would I would
thing along these.
well, don't.
Hey there.
Hi. For you being for multiple books under your belt to write. I'm in a space where I planned, right, in my head, oh yeah, New York Times bestseller, but I've not started the process. Multiple ideas in someone's head. Or is there any direction you can give on how to navigate?
Where's your heart? I mean, you
Where's
your heart? But at some point, I'm going to give you a really weird analogy. The Bachelor, bit, but this is, I've watched it. The Bachelor, as ridiculous as it is in many ways, they choose one, but the Bachelor, Bachelorette 2 is keep your life without. I still think that's great advice. I think if you look at the opportunities and options, I would look at the one that's closest to you, because if you write about what you personally do about you, that's going to be better. That's going to be easier. It's going to be deep stuff that everything that I write, I go, are my children going? Is this going to mean something to my children in the future? I help somebody, and I also look at who is going to people. You can't ignore the marketing side of that. I've met a lot of people who I believe will help me market to get more people to read this. So I think yourself some questions. Which is the one that I book? Which is the one you got to marry? And which is that you can do without? And then does it do something for your family? And who can help you get more people to do it? It's a rough industry to get anyone to notice you first. Right for you and your loved ones first.
I think I'm going to add in to ask why, and then ask why again.
Why? Just keep
yeah. Thank you so much, Randall.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Oh, there's a quote, and I forget again. Don't know who said it. Maybe Mark Twain or before him. That said, the richest place cemetery, because it's filled with dreams, unwritten books, and written songs, and written poems, inventions that were never made, that were never created. So, Amanda, just write the book. Doesn't matter where you. Perhaps it starts with you just going on, doing a live video, speaking out on certain topics, and figuring out what it is that you want. Start your book that way, because somebody out there, and I'm speaking, is waiting for you to share your story, because somebody out there needs it like their next breath. Somebody out there needs to hear how you got through it, so to give them hope, to give them, to spark their imagination, their creativity, to write their own book. As Randy, this is an inspiration, not just, this is inspiring you to go and chase and do. Don't, who was it that said it? Don't die with your music book or your invention or whatever.
There's this part that I love, this little part of the story. My first book never got me attempting to be David Sedaris. I worship David Sedaris. I think, but integrating personal storytelling, and I wrote this, honey. I am lucky. I still have a relationship with my Mrs. Patsy Watt in Missouri. I have a relationship with her. We were years older than me. She has been my advocate. My entire first book manuscript to her. Mrs. Watt calls me. I want you to be successful. I only want to see you enough. It is not ready for anybody to read this, because it's all about you don't have enough of the reader yet. I absolutely 100% knew she was right, but nobody had the courage. I absolutely put that aside years later, when the first book did come out, the best found its way into the new books. So there was a reason. Yeah, I shout up to Mrs. Watt from school in Columbia, Missouri. I thank her all the time. Teacher has always been with me and always told me the truth.
One line to that, and that's awesome. That your fifth grade teacher.
I love her.
That's freaking awesome. But I will say, when you're, I shouldn't have gotten into that other thought because
when you get old,
it escaped. Listen, that's why I have a pencil. I'm always jotting things down. What they're going to say is that, oh my God, I dropped that. I dropped the ball when I went.
More questions of how this has impacted your life. These themes have worked about how you continue to be.
I remembered what it was, is that when you're with story, think about this. Does the person that's reading about your story, your life, perhaps if you're a celebrity, if you something, the question to ask is what is the reader going to get? Are they going to be inspired? Are they going to be uplifted? Are they going to be more pensive? Or what is it when you are writing the story? You're writing it for someone else. You are what's the reader going to get out of it? How are they going to? I want to read your book. Why should I care? Not to sound.
What said I had missed.
Yeah, awesome.
Was right.
Push that button again. That's all.
Let's push that button. Okay.
Hi, this is Maria. Hello, everyone. Wonderful, wonderful. So, you write a book, you should write a book. And I tell you what stops me is that my story includes, I just want to protect my certain things that happen to me. And like, ignorance is bliss, and why should they know this happened to their mama, or this happened to their mama, their father, or maybe that, so all these things, trying to protect someone, you could do it under an alias. You can't promote it. You can't stand in front of a camera, buy my book because, or read my book because, or this book will help, because, my main priority is shielding my children from stuff. And
this is so. Of
sense?
course, for one thing, writing it for you to help you is a good idea now. Writing it for you because any time understood me, I've let go of feelings and stuff like that. The best thing I would need to somehow send me a note. So I've got your answer to this. Ginger Z, I'm friends with Ginger Z from Good Morning America. Written 2 books now on her own mental health struggles. And the first book I could tell, I was like, there's more here. She's not letting this out. She's a famous person. She's got little kids. She's going to hold back the second. Now, she is not, as I understand it, or she's sitting down with a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old and say, read mommy's. But even Daryl Hammond from Saturday Night Live book about drug abuse and stuff like that was awful. That book, knowing now that his daughter was an Daryl Hammond, this is the greatest gift to honesty.
Yes.
Now there's nothing that I really am pretty open with. There's nothing I wouldn't answer, but I have not lived a traumatic life. I don't have to write about, but when I've such as Daryl Hammond and Ginger, eventually becomes a gift. But I think you also, you have to be prepared. Are you willing to face it and willing to learn from it first?
by the way.
Does that help?
It does. It does help. I've been learning more and more about myself, and Breakfast with Champion had an impact on my life and taking me to the next level. But yes, it does help. So because my children are still younger and hormonal changes.
Oh, yeah.
So I receive that. I receive.
Yeah, I mean, you're just going to be fascinated at what you learn about you understand you. But once again, you people want to journal, knock yourself out. I love that. Eventually, someone is going to read it because they dig deeper and be more clear. And in order to that meaning and that purpose to your writing, you have to really figure it. So,
if I can just add something to that, Randy, is that if you're holding back, your message really isn't hitting the ears of the people. And as far as your kids go, I'll protect them to a certain point, but depending on the age that they are, they don't need to, until they're ready for it. And perhaps when they do read it, any of who you are, why you are the way you are, get maybe a better admiration of what you have to where you are. So the growth in that, the gifts for society, but for your kids, because the more arduous the climb of the mountain, the sure is the path, the sweeter the victory, the view from the top, and the more people can know that it was difficult, because oftentimes, again, that overnight, you're so lucky you wrote 2 books, you lucky bastard. Well, yeah, but that didn't get published. They didn't know about, the dip to navigate through. And you said you didn't have traumatic is good for you, but there are people that have, and the people that have, Maria, and perhaps some of those people are your kids, so they can better understand what you have to go through or grow through to become, when they do face difficult challenges, hopefully not the same ones, challenges, they know that there's hope, and they know that there's a way through beyond it.
And Maria, they have the option to never read it. They do. When they're old enough, they have the option to never read it.
Playing small does not serve you, does not serve your kids, the world. By the way, I'm speaking to myself again.
So, thank you for asking that, though. And we have time, Jen. One more question, one more comment. Do we have anything from you, Miss Tara?
Oh, you're so cute. Yeah. So, actually, I have a thought. This all really done. Like, not everybody here is, really excited or passionate to do it though and share your story. I'm with you on that, Tony. Really lean into that exploration of our passion, right? That we're really passionate about and that we're really enjoy doing. Finding that particular part of us, often for, but it's really not impossible. And the way you, like this beautiful way of remembering who you are, and your passion is what makes you feel fulfilled and happy in life. And I think like the different hurdles or challenges that we come across during that process, exploring our passion to really help us discover, help people around the world, important. And so you allow, I guess, yourself sides of you, and that is so beautiful. And I know that you've done that, although not everybody here wants to.
You bring up something else that I think is that the other thing. Rob Marciano said this to me. You're urologist, so he knows more than weather. When I interviewed him, he just follow one path because they're going to miss. When my first book came out and Hoda Kotb had me on, he said, "Were you always the kid in high school who wrote?" I went, "Oh my God, no!" My English teachers in high school, that Randy wrote a book, they'd be going, "Joe." I mean, because there was a time when that passion that Tara was a group of people. Am I going to make them laugh? Am I singing a song? Am I, that's what that passion was. The fact that that has become a book that has become this kind of exploration. Great, because I was and continue to be willing to people's passions, and I find out new things that mean things.
That's what I'm talking about. Isn't that beautiful? When we
do
that journey and
that
exploring the things that are, maybe uncomfortable. For me, yesterday we talked about this all day yesterday. Breakfast with Zoom with Dave. That fear is actually like my best at exploring that side of you. So if you want to become the best version, you really need to really dive deep in that discovery and that exploration. Because magic and gold, and it changes people's lives.
Mm-hmm. I will share. I think it's up there. If you want to, the book comes to a point where it's so hard to talk about the plot. You're like, well, what? It's a mystery. And Tara, wouldn't you say pretty quick? And
absolutely,
it's not really a who done it. It's a who is she. You really who she's about becomes the mystery. So it's really hard to say. Really released on the 23rd of September. If you go to www, you can learn more about it and read about it. But from my email list for the book, then I will when the book, the ebook, and the hardcover, the speaking events that I do to promote it, to support it.
Yeah, everybody.
Just giving you the mic. I think we're at the top of the hour anyway, so I'm just I'll go to you to closing thoughts. I just want to thank everybody, not only on Clubhouse, but on social media, on YouTube, LinkedIn, and everywhere else, and just remind you to a.m. with Amilya Antonetti, and again at 11 with the new and improved Randy and Amilya. Of course, today we were short, but thank you for being here. We appreciate you all, and just die with music still inside, or your book, or anything else, and that's what's coming in here to go. And we are at the top of the hour, so we're going to be dependent on the social media crew. But with that, Randy,
and because I'm really still thinking about some of that really has helped me to keep going and focus. And actually, it is a theme in Ruby. Is if you one person today, if the people who came and went help one person understand, if I've influenced one person to do, I just won. I won and I have lived like that every day. That if I'm helping one person, can't ask for anything more than that. And that's a really healthy. If you keep going when it seems maybe not. So that's my final thought. I'm really not. I'm a big goofball.
No, I love it.
Social media, the social media. We use social media name. They can be that's like their name. The social media.
It's through the heaven down onto your head.
The social media. So social meteors are here. And
hello, Randy. Hello, Tony. Hello, Tara. Hello, I love